lot more. No other station does it better. Tune in to I-FLIER 103.3 FM.
First entertainment station in Nigeria.
Good morning, Nigeria. Welcome to Press Drive on I-FLIER 103.3 FM.
A beautiful morning to you out there listening to I-FLIER 103.3 FM Ibadan. It's another day to go through the newspapers again this morning. I have the Punch, the Nation, and the Daily Post newspapers. Let's just delve into the headlines of the newspapers with me this morning because of our time. And I'll be starting with the headlines before we move to details of the stories we want to look at this morning. You can be a part of the conversation on Press Drive. You can call the studio lines, which are open when it's time. Also, you can watch us live on our Facebook page at I-FLIER 103.3 FM Live. At I-FLIER 103.3 FM Live. Like, share, follow us, and most importantly, you can drop a comment on our Facebook page. Joining me for analysis this morning is Honorable Femi Adebisi, and when it's time, you're going to hear his voice. So let's delve swiftly into the newspapers this morning, and I'll be starting with the headlines of the Nation newspaper. And one of the top headlines right there includes Senate throws out Natasha's sexual harassment petition. Senate throws out Natasha's sexual harassment petition. Rivers, catch of arms seized from pipeline bombing suspect. Rivers State, catch of arms seized from pipeline bombing suspect. Firm sues for 4.1 billion naira over negligence as CBN objects. Firm sues for 4.1 billion naira over negligence as CBN objects. Moro to lead Senate delegation for Edwin Clark's family home. Moro to lead Senate delegation for Edwin Clark's family home. 2027, why coalition against Tinubu may fail by Labour Party's ex-DG. 2027, why coalition against Tinubu may fail, Labour Party ex-DG says. Bill to strip President Governor's powers to proclaim new National Assembly, state legislators passes second reading. Bill to strip President Governor's powers to proclaim new National Assembly, state legislatures passes second reading. Other headlines on the Nation newspaper this morning include humanitarian crisis, federal government to link social register to NIN. Humanitarian crisis, federal government to link social register to NIN. Presidency to be Nigeria's democracy intact, strengthened. Presidency to be Nigeria's democracy intact, strengthened. And finally, on the Nation newspaper this morning, going through some of its headlines. Contractors seek intervention on release of project funds. Contractors seek intervention on release of project funds. I'm seeing another headline right here on the Nation newspaper. Senate begins probe of imbalance in recruitment, appointments, promotion in public service. Senate begins probe of imbalance in recruitment, appointment, promotion in public service. go through the headlines of the Punch newspaper very quickly. Sexual harassment hearing. Senators Ezekwesili clash. INEC faults Natasha's recall process. Sexual harassment hearing. Senators Ezekwesili clash. INEC faults Natasha's recall process. Yola meeting. Atiku urges new movement to fix Nigeria. Yola meeting. Atiku urges new movement to fix Nigeria. Many soldiers feared killed as Boko Haram attacks Borno military base. Many soldiers feared killed as Boko Haram attacks Borno military base. Graduate from training. Still on the Punch newspaper this morning, going through some of its headlines. Rep seeks to stop governor. National Assembly election petitions at appeal court. Reps seek to stop governorship. National Assembly election petitions at appeal court. Enugu drivers protest CNG bus rollout. Fear job losses. Enugu drivers protest CNG bus rollout. Fear job losses. Let me round off with the headlines of the Punch newspaper this morning. Let me take the last set of headlines. PDP should negotiate with Wike to recover secretariat, says 8. PDP should negotiate with Wike to recover secretariat, says 8. Dasuki's 33.2 billion naira fraud trial begins afresh after 10 years. Dasuki's 33.2 billion naira fraud trial begins afresh after 10 years. Adeleke blames historical distortion for Osun communal clashes. Governor Adeleke blames historical distortion for Osun communal clashes. Federal government, Spain, sign MOU on political consultations, others. Federal government and Spain sign MOU on political consultations, others. And finally, on the Punch newspaper this morning, policy inconsistency, poor implementation, hindering national progress, says SGF. Policy inconsistency, poor implementation, hindering national progress, says SGF. Let's move to the Daily Post newspaper, and with the headlines of this newspaper, we'll round off with the headlines and we'll move to details of the stories we want to look at. One of the top headlines right on the Punch newspaper, which is a sad one, is this. Otukpo, residents drink from mud as water scarcity worsens in Benue community. Residents drink from mud as water scarcity worsens in Benue community. Away from that, Undume laments rising insecurity as Boko Haram dislodge military formations in Borno State. Undume laments rising insecurity as Boko Haram dislodge military formations in Borno State. Away from that, Obaseki failed us. Edo Vice Principal tells Governor Kwebolo. Obaseki failed us. Edo Vice Principal tells Governor Obaseki. Fubara trampled on democracy, APC National Publicity Secretary Morka says. Fubara trampled on democracy, Morka says. Article calls for urgent restructuring, hints at major political move. Article calls for urgent restructuring, hints at major political move. PDP local government chairman resigns chief of staff appointment after lawmakers' defection in Abia State. PDP local government area chairman resigns chief of staff appointment after lawmakers' defection in Abia State. Kano's deputy governor under fire for alleged derogatory remarks. Kano deputy governor under fire for alleged derogatory remarks. And finally, on the Daily Post newspaper this morning, INEC flags deficiencies in recall petition against Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. INEC flags deficiencies in recall petition against Senator Natasha. Alright, there's so many stories right here, and I'm trying to look for which one should we start with, okay? But then I know we'll definitely start somewhere, and we'll look at many stories this morning. Remember, you can be a part of the conversation, our dear listeners. You can call the studio lines, which will open when it's time. On Facebook, you can watch us live. You can also drop a comment right there at I-FLIER 103.3 FM live. At I-FLIER 103.3 FM live. Okay. On the Nation newspaper, let's take this. Bill to strip president, governor's powers to proclaim new National Assembly, state legislatures passes second reading. A bill to strip the president and governors of power to proclaim a new session of the National and State Houses of Assembly was among 39 proposed laws that scaled second reading in the House of Representatives yesterday. The 1999 Constitution confers powers on the President and the governors to issue proclamations to be read by the clerks of the National Assembly and State Houses of Assembly before the inauguration of new lawmakers for legislative activities. Without such proclamation, no assembly will function and no president or governor would operate constitutionally in the absence of the legislative arm of government. Now, another major bill that passed the process without a debate by the House members is seeking a reform of the nation's electoral system to ensure, among others, that all litigations ended before the inauguration of election winners. Others include those seeking the creation of state police and special legislative seats for persons with disability, as well as special interest groups. Leader of the House, Julius Nyobere, asked for the suspension of the House rules to take the second reading of the bills together, and there was no objection. Okay, and this particular story goes on and on. Now, let me read this other one too, or in addition to it. One of the bills sponsored by the Speaker of the House, Abbas Tajuddin, seeks an amendment to the 1999 Constitution to make the recommendations of the National Judicial Council mandatory for the removal of the head of a court, either by the president or a governor, and so many other bills. Okay, but then let's look at the headlines, which says bill to strip president and governor's powers to proclaim new National Assembly, state legislatures passes second reading. Coupled with the other bills, one seeking electoral reforms and some other ones. Also ensuring that litigations are ended before the inauguration of election winners and all. So let's start with this story. What do you think about this? Although I'm seeing another headline in the Punch newspaper that relates to this. It's the same thing. This one is saying reps seek to stop governorship National Assembly election petitions at appeal court. But let's start with the other one. Maybe I'll read these particular details after you're done.
Oh, well, I'm so sorry for you, Queen Esther. You seem not to know where to start from. You see, when you look at Nigerian situation, you know, it's one day many trouble, you know, and when you look at newspaper every morning, a conference of
So
a
many
conference
issues.
of stories will just stare you in the face, and you don't know where you start from. Well, of course, I want to say good morning to you, and good morning to everyone from wherever you are listening to us in Nigeria, Africa, and in the diaspora. Good morning to you all. Well, yes, the House. When you look, I think about 39 amendment bills, were passed for the second reading. Of course, that does not mean that, all the 39 will scale through, because it will still be subjected to, public hearing and, the final debate on the floor of the House. Our usual yes, nay or yea or whatever, vote. So, and after that, it will still go through the state houses of assembly before you could say, yes, this is what is on the floor. Yes, the governors and the president inaugurating the assembly, I think, is a flaw. I think the lawmakers are right in this regard.
Okay.
Yes, in fact, constitutionally, no elected executive should function optimally, especially, in terms of policy making, without the House. But of course, it did happen in this particular administration, when on the first day our president made a solid and consequential policy statement, especially as touching the fuel subsidy removal. And of course, the situation which we are unable to get over, even till now. Homes and businesses and industry, and even the nation is feeling the fever of that particular declaration. So even you recollect that even the executive council was yet to be constituted. The assembly or whatever was yet to be inaugurated as a single man, as one person, which was more or less dictatorial. So, well, I think that particular bill will be better for us, given such circumstance. And, of course, there are so many others. The one that is seeking the establishment of state police, we need that one very, very urgently. Anyway, there's another one that says that all elections are to be held in one day. That is the president, the presidential election, the gubernatorial, the National Assembly, the State House of Assembly. That's about 4 elections in one day. In an era, in a situation whereby you have the bulk of voters who are, illiterate in one form or the other. So, of course, I don't know how the voters are going to cope with such a situation. But, of course, they have proposed that all elections should come in one day. So, which I don't seem to be comfortable of, given our level of illiteracy. So, that's on one hand. Yes, again, you have a situation whereby they are saying that no one should be sworn in. Until all
litigations are sorted.
I think I am fully in support of that as well. Yes, I think it's the best for us, so that you don't get disruptions, in government businesses when they take over. Yeah, there are several others as well, which says that the local government election, whatever commission be set up, so that that particular body conduct local government election. I think that one is another plus. Because given the circumstances whereby you witnesses selection rather than election in local government election, so I think if an independent body, even I don't know, well, of course, I don't know why we will need another commission anyway. Why not INEC? Yes, there's another bill that is seeking the splitting of INEC's responsibility. So a particular body to look into the registration of political parties and moderations of that political party. I think that one will be better for us. Yes, but of course, rather than having another body entirely, why not strengthen a unit within the INEC? So that you don't go ahead and start creating all the time, knowing fully well that we are not financially healthy, to bear the burdens and responsibilities of creating more and more, bodies from time to time. Yes, there is another one too, which says that officially any legislator that want to defect must first of all resign from the first political from his political party. I don't know because as far as I know, it is the political party that contests, not individual. Individual only contest under the platform of that particular political party, as a candidate representing that political party. How will you now divorce yourself from the body that contested that election? So how will you now? The moment you resign, I think you should just go. That is the thing, because that is your first constituency. Yeah, that is the first body you are responsible to. So I don't know. Rather than doing that, I think what they ought to do is that if you must contest under any political party, yes, you must be a financial member of that political party for a minimum period of 2 years. So that in 2 years to any election, you can't say you want to jump from one party to the other. Not to talk of you, when elected, you want to, jump to another party. So, because we need to learn from history, right from the First Republic, you know what cross-carpet did to our political life and and governance in the First Republic. So we are yet to learn a lesson. We are yet to take precautions as taught in that. So there are several others in that particular. I think about 39 of them. Yes. There are several others that are too much for us to enumerate on this particular program.
Okay.
So.
We can also look at this particular one. Earlier we talked about the fact that litigations that has to do with elections to be ended before the inauguration of the winners. Yeah. Now, I'm seeing this also that I read earlier. Reps seek to stop governorship and National Assembly election petitions at the appeal court.
Oh, well, that one is another flaw.
Okay.
Yes. I think it is the local government election that you start from the High Court and end
at the appeal court.
Okay. But when it comes to the issue of gubernatorial and presidential election, I think it ought to start from the appeal court and terminate at the Supreme Court.
Okay.
So I don't have a heavily prolonged, litigation processes.
This was one of the reasons mentioned.
Yes,
by
members
one of
the tribunal should be picked from the appeal court. So it should commence from the appeal and terminate. Given, we have seen cases whereby at the end of the day, you see in a ruling, the High Court and the appeal court will just err. So only for the, Supreme Court to sanitize and get things straightened up. So, people don't seem to be comfortable, even with the two appellate courts. Okay. So, but the Supreme Court in most cases, they set the record straight when it comes to ruling quite often than the two appellate courts. So, I want to suggest rather than the Guber and presidential election ending at appeal court, it should rather start from the appeal and terminate at the Supreme Court.
All right, then let's still come to the Senate and let's quickly take this before we come to presidency responding to B and some other ones. Senate begins probe of imbalance in recruitment, appointment, promotion in public service. The Senate is beaming its searchlight on the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, National Pension Commission, Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, and some ministries, departments, and agencies over breach of the act establishing them. Some of the agencies were accused of violating the federal character principle in their appointments, promotions, and recruitment. The Red Chamber mandated its Committee on Federal Character and Intergovernmental Affairs to investigate alleged cases of imbalance in recruitment, appointment, and promotion in the public service. The Senate resolution followed its consideration of a motion titled Urgent Need to Address Systemic Abuse and Ineffective Implementation of the Federal Character Principle in Nigeria's Public Sector. And the sponsor of this particular motion, Senator Osita Ongu, noted sections 14 subsection 3 and 14 subsection 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, which explicitly prohibits the dominance of individuals from a few state or ethnic groups in federal institutions. They're talking about nepotism, adding that to it. Okay, and it goes on and on. He also complained about the lack of accountability in enforcing the federal character principles, which has compromised fairness in the public sector. So, Senate begins proof of imbalance in recruitment, appointment, promotion in public service. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing anyway, enforcing the the federal character
principle.
Principle. It's a good thing to ensure what you call it, fairness, equity, and all-inclusive society. I think it's but of course I'm a bit worried that you hear things like this on the floor of the House, especially when many of the lawmakers are marginalized in the recruitment processes. That is when you hear things like that. But if they have been treated, better, you don't hear anything. So I think it's a way of calling the attention of whoever that is involved that, of course, you did not treat us well on the floor of the House. The moment they get them settled, you don't hear anything on it again. So that is my worry, And of course, when it comes to breaches of the laws of the land, the Character Commission, and a whole lot of things, even the lawmakers of themselves, they seem to be lawbreakers. Yes, especially, let me just refer you to the issue of fixing of salaries for public, officers, which is vested on the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission by our Constitution. This include the lawmakers, the executives, the judiciary, the three arms. That is, so that those people will not be the one fixing their own salary. That's then why you have the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission. But of course, are we saying that they obey such rule? In fact, I have those things. They are like Bibles, 2 big books like this. I have them at home. And when I went through them, there is no section of that particular book of those books of that has to do with allocations of resources, of remunerations and all that. So none of them talk about buying vehicles for public office holder. It talks about loans which will be repaid. But of course, you see them allocating anything to themselves. In fact, our assemblies at the upper and lower chambers has become an esoteric society. Wherein you don't even know anything up till now. I think no member is permitted to speak about their remuneration. Are we secular in practice? So you see a whole lot of infractions on our constitution. That's what you get. So in this regard, well, of course, I think it's a welcome development, but of course, they are only saying this because they are marginalized and they are calling for attention. That's the reason why they are doing that.
All right, let's come to Kano State before we go to other ones. Sanusi Bayero take Kano Emirate tussle to Supreme Court. I mean, this is not a new matter. It's an issue that's been recurring. The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja on Tuesday set aside actions previously delivered against the reinstatement of Muhammadu Sanusi II as the 16th Emir of Kano. Subsequently, the appellate court, upon acknowledging the transmission of the case record to the Supreme Court, directed all interested parties to exercise of Kano. And he also directed that all parties should maintain status quo. And it goes on and on.
I think, our judiciary seems to be sick in this regard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And you see, the current Chief Justice of Nigeria, my Lord Justice Kudera Kekereekun, noticed that. And he said, yes, there's going to be sanity, especially as touching conflicting judgment and entertaining cases that are not within your jurisdiction. The issue of ownership and traditional institution lies even with the native courts, the Sharia court and all those stuff. That is, shouldn't is the business of the those courts and the state high courts and all that. It's their business. But of course, the other man, Abayero, go to the extent of federal high court to seek relief and all that, and it is being entertained. Of course, should Supreme Court uphold the rulings of the federal high court as touching cases of Obaship Tosu in Kano, it will have resultant effects on situations in Rivers State, situations in Osun State. Remember, in Osun State, APP, the political party, went to court and said that the elections to the local government should be declared, and that was given. So, of course, and it should not be. So, if they now say that, okay, whatever the Federal High Court is saying up there is okay, then of course whatever Federal High Court says in the issue of Rivers State, in the issue of Osun State, that should also stay. And they will not want that. So, but of course, essentially, let's narrow down to Kano. I think they should be very careful. Now, the breaking of fast is coming. And the tradition is that the two emas, because the state is upholding one, the federal is upholding one. So, the two of them are likely to use the same field, to perform that particular ritual. So, and what do you think will come out of that? So, I think it is high time the federal government, does not overstep its boundary. We are running a federation, and each of the federating units are getting their responsibilities and their capacity well spelled out in the constitution. So I think we have politicized virtually everything. So I think that political insanity must be sanitized now. So it is important.
All right, then let's come to this. Let me take the security matter first, and then maybe we'll check the other ones. Now, the headline in the Punch newspaper says, many soldiers feared killed as Boko Haram attacks Borno military base. A yet to be confirmed number of soldiers were feared killed by Boko Haram insurgents in an attack on a military base in Sabongari, Damboa local government area of Borno State on Monday. Local sources confirmed to the Punch newspaper that the attack occurred in the evening when the insurgents launched an assault on the military formation, firing sporadically and causing numerous casualties, including soldiers killed and others critically injured. Although details of the attack remain scarce, a resident of Damboa, Abba Usman, provided additional information, saying that military reinforcement rushing to the scene stepped on a lined mine, causing an explosion that resulted in injuries and possibly more casualties. A military source also confirmed the attack but refrained from providing a specific number of soldiers killed. When contacted, spokesperson for Operation Hardin Kai, Lieutenant Colonel A.Y. Jinginan, responded via text saying, and I'm quoting it, "Please, I am out of station and Sabongari is under Sector 2. However, the Borno State Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Usman Ta, confirmed the incident, stating, and I'm quoting him, "I can confirm there was an IED attack in a place called Wajiroko under Damboa. What happened was that our military personnel stepped on an IED. We lost one and one sustained an injury. It was not an attack. It was an IED our soldiers stepped on." Now, the Daily Post newspaper, the headline says, Ndume laments rising insecurity as Boko Haram dislodge military formations in Borno State. Okay, so
well,
insecurity.
I don't know how we handle information. When the spokesperson of the military said that it wasn't an attack, then who planted the IED? Are they the one who planted that particular IED, the landmines now, only to destroy or attack themselves? Are they the one? So we should recognize that we are fighting a guerrilla warfare, and even as sharp, as brilliant, as versatile as up to date America was and is, they were unable to even conquer Vietnam, it's tiny Vietnam, in a guerrilla warfare. So it's the most difficult. It's not a conventional war. You'll be fighting your own people who are, you'll be fighting both internal and external aggressors at the same time. So, and largely it is just ourselves attacking ourselves. So, which calls for a more of non-kinetic approach rather than kinetic approach. So, before now, we have been saying, let there be a national meeting. Let's sort out something. And I remember, I keep reminding us, the Bauchi State governor mentioned that. He said, look, we need to sit down and study the Fulani race especially very well. I'm pointing out the Fulanis because most of these things largely reside, with that particular section of this country. He said that an average Fulani man, one, is naturally a wanderer. You have to move from one place to the other. How do we reconcile that with the normal life of an average Nigerian? So, and if you must move from place to place, must you infringe on the other people's right? I have to understand now. And he said another thing. He said, yes, you need to recognize that an average Fulani man is not tied to a singular nationality. He said that their nationality or wherever they find themselves. Can you reconcile that to the position of a country, Nigeria, that get borders and get its own citizen? How will you reconcile multiple nationality, to the situation or circumstances of Nigeria? So now it calls for sitting down. I hope you understand. Not until when we sit down and discuss, you are not likely to see the end of that. And remember, I keep reminding us again about what the Santana of Sokoto, the northern region premier, what he said on the 12th day of October 1960. That was 12 days into what we call independence. He mentioned that, look, they lack interest in the entity called Nigeria because, well, of course, Nigeria cannot be owned by everybody. That Nigeria is the property of the Fulanis, has bestowed on them by history, as via via Madam Fodio. So, and he said that they are going to use every means, including the people they can use from the south, to make sure that the Quran is buried in the sea. That was mentioned expressly. It's in the news. It's in the newspaper. It's in the archives. 12 days into the, into our, so, a whole lot. And some people are still holding on to that till now. I have to understand that. And of course, you need to also understand history, that most of the northern Nigeria, Niger, and Mali, they happen to be single entity before they were split via what you call, the coming of the Europeans and all those stuff to partition, all those countries and divide, for themselves to govern and exploit it. So, they used to be one before. They share common culture and others before, all that partition, So, and with that shared history, so, a whole lot of things are happening. So there's something to discuss in the entity called Nigeria. And not until when we sit down and discuss such, you won't get headway when it comes to the issue of having a nation, one, and, maintaining security and getting the confidence of one another. The trust is missing. That's what you call trust lacuna. That's what you call, So, I think we need to sit down and discuss. That's how to get over what you call insecurity situation in the country.
All right, so then let's open the phone lines at this point, and then maybe we would first go on this quick break. Then when we come back, we'll open the phone lines and take your reactions, dear listeners. So please do stay with us. We'll be right back.
My people, me and you don't get electricity wahala again. OIC Solar don't make and they easy kulele with this new kind of bonga easy life solar product. We then just carry land with the multi for Ibadan. With this them powerful solar kits, we there for different sizes, original power stations like a 200 watts, 300 watts, 600 watts. With the inverter embedded solar kit, we get 6 brighter bulbs, an attractive solar radio within charging point. Una fit take charge your phones, correct solar freezer, different lithium batteries, tabular batteries, portable Android projector, different solar inverters, electric motorbike with sharp as we sell, we install. Now so we repair power solar system and components. OIC. Now the Bonga confirm accredited distributor for all the companies them where they produce original solar products from Obodo Yibo them, big companies, churches, mosque, event center, everybody. Wakago OIC Solar Company today for Shop C4, NTA Shopping Complex, Agodi Gate, Ibadan. Now so then they for Samsung Shopping Complex, Ekulodi Junction, New Ife Road, Ibadan. Website www.oicsolar.net. For Instagram plus TikTok, OIC Solar 1. Tulu 081 0502 0388. Better light don't come.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me introduce to you Mama Gold Semolina and Supreme Semolina. Yes, I Are you looking for the best pasta and semolina brands for your family? Look no further. The gold standard of pasta and semolina, made from the finest ingredients, is here. A semolina is perfect for making delicious meals. And for spaghetti and macaroni lovers, we have Mama Pride spaghetti and macaroni, Crown Premium spaghetti and macaroni, rich in fiber, vitamins, and made from the best nutritional ingredients. Our pasta is perfect for you. Choose the best Mama Pride macaroni, Crown Premium spaghetti, and Crown Premium macaroni. And the best parts, Crown pasta and semolina is available at a store near you at affordable prices. Be a king and queen in your home. Always with Crown Flours.
Yes, welcome back. It's Learn to Price Drive right here on I-FLIER 103.3 FM Ibadan. It's time to hear from you, our dear listeners. Let's take your reactions this morning. 0705 500 1033, 0905 444 1033, 0705 500 1033, 0905 444 1033. A first caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
You're welcome, sir.
Yes, my name is Philip Alabi from Alaka Shaboru.
It's good to have you, sir.
Yes, you need this morning that Boko Haram attack our military base in Borno. What are we doing with? If we cannot conquer this war, why can't we seek a military aid from this developing country? Despite that, we are still sending an military for rescue mission in Sudan. When our house is burning, they say, when Chief 103, the problem will be removed. You have problem with insecurity in our country. You are sending a military to another place. Boko Haram is threatening us. Government will find solution to it. Secondly, on the issue of Federal Revenue Mobilization Commission, why is it that our executive are determining their own salary? When the shadow of fixing revenue and allowances are charged with the duty of Federal Revenue Mobilization Commission. And if you have a lawmaker, they are breaking up. The word of Shiva Davis has something to go by. That's my comment this morning. Have a nice working day.
You also have a nice day. Thank you very much, Mr. Caleb. You have also won yourself, courtesy of I-FLIER 103.3 FM, a gift that we give out on Press Drive.
Wow.
Of course, not so many gifts, okay, but something small just to, celebrate this particular period, Ramadan and Lent. So, Mr. Caleb, I'm going to reel out my phone number at the end of the program, so that we can talk on how you can claim your prize. Congratulations to you. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
You're welcome, sir.
I think Honorable.
Good morning, my comrade.
Okay. On the constitutional amendment, voting on the order of election in one day is abnormal and will complicate the situation and continue to impose bad leaders on Nigeria.
What you are saying now. So it is whatever laws they make for them that they implement. But of course they have a whole dose of blame too as an electoral body, But of course I don't blame them because they are merely independent on the paper, but not, practically independent, as it were.
All right, thank you very much. Let's pick this. Oh, it's dropped. Please do call us back 0705 500 1033 0905 444 1033. Also on our Facebook page, you can drop a comment right there at I-FLIER 103.3 FM Live. Okay, let me take a few comments on our Facebook page, and then if we can take a story, possibly we'll do that. I have this from Sulaiman Sheriff. He says, good morning and kudos to everyone in the studio. Thank you very much. Regarding the issue of Senator Natasha, since 1999 till date, how many lawmakers have been recalled? We need to improve on the process of electing and recall of political office holders in the good process without compromising it or political undertone. Thank you very much, Sulaiman Sheriff. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
You're welcome, sir.
This Prince Bumi Adifusi calling from Apata.
It's good to have you.
I greet the Ibu analyst.
Good morning, my prince.
Well, Borno State used to go. Borno State is known as a home of peace, but now it is now home of war due to the negligence of our government. They are still not ready. If they are ready, I know insecurity will be a thing of the past, but they are not ready. And it is very unfortunate that some people, that some enemies of this country are cashing out seriously on the issue of insecurity. That is why Mr. President must be proactive. Step on tools. It is time. It is time for him to be stepping on tools for the betterment of this country. That's my submission. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Prims Bumi Adefusi. Appreciate your comment. Let's look at this Natasha issue and the way Sulaiman Sharif raised it. Now, this headline in the Punch newspaper says, sexual harassment hearing. Senators Ezekwesili clash. INEC faults Natasha's recall process. Let's pick this call and we'll come to it. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Nekiri Ayaba.
You're welcome, sir.
Good morning, Honorable.
Carol, sir. Good morning, sir.
Okanyobale.
Amen.
Lori Natasha, they will fail. They will fail entirely. We are praying for Natasha. That is number one. Number two, Nigeria should can't see a tuto. Tibo Yankee Ebona, Honorable Kiloma, Kinyon, Nigeria, Temba Shatuto. Kilo said the gun. Never low, can't low, cash out to in Nigeria. Ogo, New York, Machele, Teba, Sentianica, Segi, Adalaga Kibe, or Magdekibe, I want them to get sun. However, the one Yankee, when you say, I told Nigeria, King of no one, I didn't know, solo.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you, Baba Tajudin, okay? Thank you for your comment.
On the issue of Natasha,
yes, so tension ran high on Tuesday, during the hearing of a sexual harassment petition.
Cannot entertain again until the determination of that particular case. So that's the summary. But of course, there was something that was germane. The petitioner yesterday said that that particular committee, they lack the credibility to continue the hearing of that particular case. Because the leader of that particular committee, the Ethics and Privilege one, has taken side already. So it seems as if he has personal interest. He has personalized the thing. And second, the lack of integrity in the person of that particular chairman of that committee, Senator Maswen. Given the circumstance of his antecedent while in the United States. He was a lawyer. He got some money, every thousands of dollars from a particular lady, and ran away with that money. So that particular senator cannot enter the United States again as we are speaking, and that is our own senator in Nigeria. Especially now heading that particular sensitive committee, Ethics and Privileges Committee. So he said that they lack. So if Akpabio and his wife lack confidence, in a particular judge hearing their own case, and that's why that particular man got aflamed yesterday and said, look, if so they're saying that he let loose decorum and said that she called a fool. I mean, it was there on you can see it. But of course, that's the former minister, was more competent. So I think something got wrong yesterday, and it's a national shame. And we shouldn't forget that you don't even need anybody to go out there and make statement. Yes, the people in the outside world, they are looking at the events in Nigeria. They are watching with dismay. All our political drama in the country. So you don't need somebody to even tell anybody that.
All right, let's go back on Facebook to take more comments, and then we'll round off this morning. I have this from Oluwashin, which says, good morning, I-FLIER FM. As regards insecurity, it is high time the federal government stop politicizing insecurity and focus on how to secure lives and properties of the masses, because the rate at which these bandits keep killing and kidnapping is too worrisome. And I will implore the federal government to also, all right. And I will implore the federal government to also grant a request on state police, because this will really go a long way in curbing this menace. Thank you very much. Olasinde Olayinka says, well done. Thank you very much. Pastor Dr. Mukala Famiwa says, on Natasha's issue, thank you for your messages. We're tired of Natasha today, Natasha tomorrow. Senate should concentrate on their primary assignment. God bless you all. Thank you very much. Mariam Yetunde says, good morning. Thank you. Tolu Lokbade